When we made the first image with the mirror, it was deeply exciting. I knew we'd discovered something rather big. We were setting up a still life based on the Cotin painting of the cabbage on the string. And unfortunately, the cabbage started spinning round. It didn't stay still. But I went into the dark room to see it, but there on the projection was the cabbage spinning. And I realized this is a color movie. It moves. I mean, there it is. It's spinning. It's quite beautiful. Of course, it's upside down. The string's coming from the bottom. And I then realized, my God, this is a movie in color. They must have seen it 600 years ago. And actually, there's a straight line from this to the television picture of today. And it goes all the way through European painting. That dawned on me. I think nobody's observed that before. But it has to be true, actually. You could have a string grid here and so on. All that's possible, but so is the mirror. Now, if you've got one or the other, which you're going to use? One is simpler, clearer, cleaner, the drawing. That's it. I mean, this is a question if we can see the possible techniques. You pick the simplest one, the one that will produce the best results. And frankly, that's what we're just finding. Let's have a look. Just knock that off a minute.
Just measure half, David, if all we can see. Oh, yeah. It's not lit, it's not properly lit.
We're getting near. Wait a minute, yeah. We're getting near. We're getting near. Wait a minute.
Yeah, go back further, Stan.
It's a bit bigger. Can you go back further? And as you go back further, I think we get more in focus. Do you see?
Should do, yeah.
Yes. This projection is now about exactly the size of the chandelier in the painting. This is approximately 8 inches across. It is precisely the size. The mirror making this projection is about 5 inches across. It is small, and it is very sharp, it is very clear. The sun would be giving this light, but you could see how this incredibly difficult perspective, if it had to be drawn mathematically, how difficult it is. I'm just doing this very crude, but you can see the highlights, very similar to in the painting. You see I'm just measuring little things. It would be extremely difficult to get these shapes, negative shapes, positive shapes, but here you can see it. The curve at the top is precisely how it is in the painting, these curves. If you can't see what I've done, but if you take a candle and then I cover up the mirror, you can see I could plan the curves. They're rather crude, I'm doing them quickly, but you can see it opens the process, it opens the method of doing it. You take the candle away, take the hand from the mirror, it comes back. This is very, very, very strong evidence, and I'll repeat now, I think, to look for evidence of lenses and mirrors, you look at pictures. Pictures give you evidence because lenses and mirrors make pictures. All the questions about where is the equipment seem to fall away. But something else was happening at this time in Florence, the defining moment of Western image making, Brunelleschi's invention of perspective. Perspective is an abstraction, a device for putting what we see in 3 dimensions onto a 2-dimensional surface. It gives us an illusion of space. Things are scaled as they appear to the eye from a single point, larger at the front and smaller at the back. Brunelleschi famously made a painting of the baptistry that astonished Florence. Made sometime before 1412, it was, suspiciously, 30 centimetres square. I was taught it was based on abstract geometry, but how was it conceived? Did he see something first? We went to Florence to do an experiment in the precise position where we know Brunelleschi painted his picture. 3 braccia, that is about 2 meters, inside the doorway of Florence Cathedral. Early in the morning the sun is on the baptistry, but inside it is very dark. It is a camera. Brunelleschi stood in this doorway, supposedly about 6-7 feet in the door, and made a panel of the baptistry. And we think he did it. He made a perspective picture. We know that. The mirror makes a perspective picture. Brunelleschi was the man in charge of every tool there was in Florence. He's building a dome on the cathedral. Every bit of latest technology was there. The descriptions of the pulley system they described for him to pull things up. It's therefore, it seems to me, not possible that he didn't know the mirror would do what we did in Florence. Brunelleschi had to have known. It's not possible we were the first people to do that. Using the mirror, he could only produce a small picture, about 30 centimeters square. But by extending these lines of perspective, he could create what all artists wanted, a bigger space and a bigger picture. That way, of course, makes you one fixed point out here. That's what it would do, and a mathematical point at that. Somehow, they never did that in Bruges. In Bruges, it would seem to me, if their picture is this size because of optical projections, they wanted to make them bigger, they somehow add like this, because it has an effect of making you close to everything. This is The Last Supper by Dirk Boots. It has a kind of perspective. Things are bigger at the front and smaller at the back, but not precisely scaled as in Italian paintings. Parallel lines do not all meet at one point. It's a collage of separate mirror lens views, each one precise, accurate, and optical. The reason, perhaps, I was able to see this is that I had done something very similar myself. I made my Polaroid pictures because I was dissatisfied with the limitations of the single photograph and wanted to make a bigger picture. Each individual Polaroid is precise, accurate, optical. You get a different kind of space. And yet to me it's closer to how we really see, with two eyes and the eye being part of the mind.